Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. Thompson 777A here. I thought I'd talk a little bit about my solar. Back in 2018, about this time, a couple weeks earlier actually, we had installed these 320 watt mono perc panels. As you can see, there's 36 panels here. So that's like 11.5 kilowatts. You don't really get 11.5 kilowatts out of the system though, because there's losses. But in any event, we used a Sunny Boy inverters, and I decided to go with an entire Sunny Boy system. I kind of like the system. It's a little pricier than some of the other options, but I think we're kind of dealing with a tried and true. So I was doing a little bit of, I call it reliability by splitting things up. So I have two 6 kilowatt Sunny Boy inverters you can kind of see hanging up on the wall in the garage there. And then we ended up also buying a gasoline generator. And this is an industrial version. Somebody had bought it for their dock. They wanted portable power out there while they were doing things, and he decided he just never was using it. And I picked this thing up pretty inexpensively. Now it's a beast. It's like 14 kilowatts. Now I found a kit that you can convert to run this thing off of propane, and I did that. It was only like $150. I think it's Century Products. You can go to their website. You can just about convert anything to run off of propane using their product. It does degrade the thing down to about 12 kilowatts when you do that, because propane just doesn't have the same amount of energy as gasoline. Now last year I purchased some batteries. It's actually like a repurposing. These were telecom batteries there on the left, and they were a cell site that was being decommissioned, and we were able to pick these up fairly inexpensively. Now these are not typical deep cycle batteries, but I've decided how I was going to run my house. These would work perfectly, and this was a deep discount way to go get a battery system compared to many of the others that you'll find. So now we're in the process of wiring up Sunny Boy islands. Those are the things that are right in the middle there. Now the house I'm living in had two panels, two 200 amp panels, and we had to separate out the critical loads into a third panel. And I am not going to be running the air conditioners. I'm not going to be running, electrical dryers. I'm not going to be running, electrical stoves. I do have a gas stove downstairs, but we'll be able to run washing machines. We'll be able to run microwaves, our refrigerator, freezers, those kind of things. And I have about 2 or 3 of everything in this house because it's a very large house. I have a full finished walkout basement, and it ends up, basically duplicating a lot of the appliances. All my lights in my house are LED now, and this is a very well insulated house, and I have wood stoves for heating in the winter. But if we end up with a major problem in the summer, we're just going to be without AC. Now I may end up looking into some other options, like for the bedrooms or something where we could sleep at night. So we'll worry about that last. So tomorrow we'll be doing some final programming of the Sunny Boy Islands, and we'll be kind of testing each section out, making sure that we can simulate the utility power going out and battery power coming on, and generator charging batteries, all those different things. So it'll be a pretty long day, but that'll be kind of like the last thing. Then I just got to sit down and write some procedures, and so we'll have it documented for how we operate and maintain this thing for the future. But pretty excited. There'll be a more detailed video once we get everything up and running. I'll show you how the thing works. It's pretty slick. But in the meantime, I want to give you an update on my gardens and my animals and everything, so that follows this. So this is the third take for this video. The first one I did earlier this morning, I forgot to hit the record button, and I talked for like 5 minutes. And then I started getting a warning on my phone that I was running out of memory, so I sat down for about 10 minutes and started deleting all the videos on my phone, and I deleted the video that I had repeated. So this is take 3, but all my chickens are doing a fabulous job. They've been underneath here scratching all the rabbit manure that was building up, and it's now filling up my catch basin again. I was overloaded on my catch basin. It was over the top, and it backed up the whole system. So now the chickens are doing their thing. In fact, you can kind of encourage this. I throw some scratch grain underneath here, and they'll come down in here and work a little harder when that's in here. But anyways, this thing will be filled back up in no time, especially if we get some rain and everything. It'll kind of help ooze it on down. Sounds disgusting, but man, this is black gold right here. And the chickens are a symbiotic part of this whole relationship. They go up underneath there. Dang roosters, man. They go in here and they find all kinds of bugs. Whoops, roosters are going at each other here. Might have been one of his hens. Says, get away from my girl. By the way, I did order an incubator off of the Facebook app. So I should be picking that up this weekend. They were finishing a batch and they had it marked like half price. They'd used it a couple times, and I said, well, that'd be perfect, so I can raise my own Rhode Island Reds now. Especially since I got 2 roosters. Now, I haven't shown my baby rabbits in a while, but these things are growing up quick. So she has 9 kits in here. This gray rabbit that I mated with my black male, that's a lot of babies. She had a couple more that didn't make it, but these are the yield so far. It's quite interesting the way you get different colors. And then these 4 just graduated. This is the final grow out area. She's got about 2 more weeks with these babies. I probably could actually go ahead and mate her now, but in 2 weeks she gets pulled out because these are pretty much viable at this point. I just like to leave her with the babies for at least 6 weeks. So we're going to have a bumper crop. Definitely got to make room for the freezer. I may have to upgrade my freezers. So this is one of my older mamas, and she had a small litter. And one of the babies, her backside is paralyzed. So I've got to actually take care of that. Barb's gotten a little attached to that one, but that you just can't carry on with something like that. That's not going to be any value, and we're just spending money for something that's not going to provide much meat or anything. But anyways, this mama is probably, after she's done with this litter, she's going to be processed, because when they start getting the small litters, they're just not producing like we need them. We need minimum 6 to 8 babies. It's early in the morning, so we got some long shadows here, but you can see my strawberries starting to come alive. The onions seem like they're really perking up too, because we haven't had rain on top of rain, and even here's my garlic looking fantastic. Still have about 2 months left for the garlic. Here's more onions. Trying to get caught up on the feeding schedule. I got behind a little bit. Still have a couple months for the onions. Now this is my beans, cucumbers, more beans, and then all my peas. So we'll see how that works out. Sorry, I'm standing in the shadow. I may have to hit a little bit of water on these today. So I was looking at my garlic today, and I'm starting to get the feeling these things may be ready to pull out. It's kind of interesting. There's actually, when I read about this, there's a little bit of an art to know when to pull garlic out. You're supposed to look at the bottom couple leaves when they start turning yellow, and kind of die off like we're seeing down here. And you might see some of the tips as well darkening up and drying up. This may be time to pull out. And I just watered and I wasn't paying attention, but it may be time to harvest. I'm probably going to wait one more week. And you're supposed to wait till it's kind of dry because you don't want to damage the ball part of it. And you also don't just pull them out. You have to kind of take like a little digging tool and exercise around it and bring it up, and you do not wash them off. And you just hang them up and let them dry. You can clean them later after they've, guess we'll use the word cured. I don't know if that's the right term or not, but anyways, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, I thought it was a little early. I thought it was supposed to be May that they're supposed to be harvested. But, you know, they tell you when they're ready, just like a lot of plants. Can't always rely on the calendar and everything. Now, I did notice, this is pretty exciting. I'm starting to get some bulbing on my onions. I noticed a couple of them over here. I think it was over here. Yeah. Starting to see some bulbing right there. I don't know if that's showing up in the camera or not. A lot of glare right now. So I still have probably 2 months before these are harvested. All right, we got some plants that continue to improve. I decided to just give them a little bit of granular fertilizer. And these are tomato plants. There's a little bit of cilantro I started. Everything's just kind of been transplanted, so they still look a little bit puny. My sweet potatoes, I got to get them in the ground next week. Jalapenos and bell peppers. Bell peppers are really starting to wake up. The jalapenos are a little bit behind here. Sunflowers, same thing, got to get in the ground. Now over here, I got zucchini, pumpkin, and then more sunflowers in the back. And then this is all okra. There's a bean up front here though. And these are wildflowers. Butternut squash. I got one bean here. He needs to get up here with the rest of his folks. There's some pink banana squash. I don't know what that is. First time I've grown that. I've got a few more sweet potato plants that I've started, and my lettuce. Marigolds, beans in the back. These have got to get in the ground. And then a whole bunch more lettuce I've started. I got a few more of these squash over here. In fact, that one's starting to break through. And then I've got eggplant. I noticed these are starting to pop up now. So they're going to be off the heat mat here soon. And then these are all kinds of herbs. In fact, these are coming off the heat mat here real soon. These need to get over there on the top. So anyways, everything's looking good. Let's go see if we have any of my corn popping up yet. So this is really interesting. I have one lone, oh, I see another corn stalk. Anyways, corn is starting to come up here. There's another corn. Oh, there's a couple in this pile. So maybe we're finally getting some germination going on. Let's see if the top level's getting anything yet. These were planted a couple days later. I've had to start watering these because they're kind of drying out a little bit during the day. We've had some pretty hot weather. Temperature's going to be dropping here. I may have to go ahead and hit it with a little bit of water again tonight. Can't guarantee on the rain how things are working. Cantaloupe are looking really good. Watermelon are struggling still. Look at my fruit cocktail trees though. These are looking fantastic. I wanted to show you, oh, here's my, well, that doesn't look so hot. I need to spray this. This just looks like it's getting a little bit of mold or something. That thing was just gorgeous the other day. It's always something with plants. Here's my blueberries. I got to put in steps here because clay, when it gets wet, it is awful. Blueberries are a whole row of blueberries. Now I wanted to show you all of my potatoes are all sprouting now. I have to go back and look at what date this was. But all the way up the hill, everything's sprouting. In fact, those up there, those potatoes already had sprouted quite a bit before I put them in the ground. But I got lots of potatoes, doing great here. I took a half of my 2,500 gallon tank and watered everything the other day. Give it a good soaking. Yeah, look at those blueberries. Growing my own blueberries. All these, it looks like the bees pollinated these, and these are all set with blueberries too. Those are all blueberries. Looks like it's focusing in the background. I only had a few fruit set on this. I don't know if it was just because we had a cold snap and hurt these or what, but or I didn't get them fertilized in time. We may not. Of course, this is only the second year, so we may not really want a bunch of fruit on here. Next year, we'll see what happens. Oh, look at that. Good luck. There's a ladybug. Two ladybugs. I think that's a ladybug. Now, even though we're going into a time of very difficulty, I still believe in beauty. And so I've gone in and done all my mulch for my beds, and my plants are just really coming alive now. Still a while before we start getting blooms. It's funny the way these things are set up here. It's kind of more accident than anything, but they all bloom at a different rate. These are actually some of the onions that I had set the bulbils up on the step to kind of dry, and they blew off and planted in the garden, so I've got onions growing there too. Mums starting to come back. These are hydrangeas. This is something called tick seed, and then some of these are other bulbs, and then these are big long orange trumpet looking things. But I wanted to show you my azaleas. I was not fertilizing properly until this year, and now it looks like everything's just exploding. It's looking fantastic. It's amazing when you actually study what you're supposed to do and do it correctly. But wait till you see the azaleas up here. Absolutely gorgeous. Stunning. So those always bloom first. I've got like every other row of those, and then these bloom off and on all summer, but there's really two major blooms. There's like a spring and fall. They're called encore. Look how gorgeous that one is. It's amazing to me. There's another one. So I spent a lot of money on landscaping my yard to make it look attractive. Look at those azaleas. I have these rose bushes up here. I can't wait to show you this year, but they are really popular in Georgia. And I can't think of the name of them right now. But this is about the third year that I've had these, and these are impressive as all get out. In fact, it looks like they're about to bloom. I see one right there. Wait till you see what this thing looks like this year. This is going to be a fantastic looking presentation right at the entryway to my house. Anyways, this is kind of into the sun, but I've got it decorated all the way down both sides of the driveway. I still have a big old pile of mulch I got to finish down the side of my yard. Forgot to show you, I rototilled this large area here off the back side. It wasn't doing real well for growing grass, and so I decided to put a wildflower display. So this is like 3 or 4 foot wide and maybe 20 feet long. This ought to be really interesting. I hope it works out well. I also have a bunch of climbing roses on several of my trees, so I'm hoping those do well this year as well. So here's my raspberries, and I got a couple miniature blueberry plants, but I think I'm going to transplant these raspberries to one of my raised beds up front, and I'll just have a whole bed of raspberries like I do for strawberries. And those miniature blueberry plants, I can relocate them as well. My herb garden still needs to be kind of worked through here. I got a lot of dead stuff from the winter, but we did clean out the asparagus. And I'm getting a lot of asparagus here right now. I need to go ahead and start harvesting some of this, but it looks like I've lost a few plants here, so I may have to get a few more plants and put them in the ground. Actually, just when you think one's dead, there's a sprout coming up right there. So we'll give it a little bit more time, but there used to be plants right here in the middle, and I don't see that there's anything going on there. So and then these are cherry bushes. They're miniature cherry bushes, and they're supposed to put out lots of cherries. But I used to have 3 here, but 2 of them didn't make it, so I need to order a couple more, and then I got 3 over there. This isn't necessarily the most optimal place, but this whole area is going to end up mulched like the front, and it'll look gorgeous when it's done. But I got to build 2 more beds right here, and that's on the list for this year. Now I want you to know, I made a decision. I was going to go ahead and make a big garden for my in-laws and even my brother-in-law. And so I went up to the store. Sorry, I'm trying to close my gate while I'm talking here. I went up to the store and I bought 5 pounds of long day onions. Those right there that I was showing you were short day onions. Long day onions are meant to grow during the summer, where the short day are meant to grow through the winter. And I got a pile of them here. I got a little carried away. And then I also bought 10 pounds of potatoes. They didn't have any more seed potatoes, so I had to get some from the store. I'm probably going to go wash them off real good, and there's usually a spray that they put on potatoes to keep them from sprouting. I couldn't find the organic one at the store, but I think these will still work just fine. I'm going to go ahead and cut them up. I also got some corn, and I think I'm going to go over there and rototill and start getting them set up. It's important to make sure you cover all your family before you try to take care of other folks. I was thinking about, I did a video one time that talked about when you have a problem when you're on a plane. Start losing altitude, the oxygen mask drop. You're supposed to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help anybody else. So it's the same thing here. If we're going to potentially have food shortages and stuff, you want to try to get your family situated. It's going to be less of a problem for you. I mean, I'm trying to grow the crap out of my garden here, but I don't know how many people I could feed here. I mean, I have immediate family where I got to take care of potentially my son and his family, and my daughter and her family, and to have extended family members too. That's just a big amount of work. So anyways, I think this will be good to kind of go get them all situated and hopefully get them in the habit of, taking care of their gardens, and we'll see how far it goes. Remember, don't think a second, a minute, a day, or a week. That's what normal people do. In fact, it's the lowest life forms on this earth. Their immediate gratification, that's the way they think. You have to start thinking out, months, years ahead. That's kind of what taught me when I was an engineer. We had 1, 3, 5, 10-year planning, and I think it's important for you to start doing the same thing. Things don't happen automatically. In many ways, you have to force things through. That's another lesson you'll learn. All right, that's my thoughts for today.